Hello, Merry Christmas everyone. Thanks for stopping by my channel. I'm Nell. I want to wish you guys all a safe and happy holiday season. I know we've been going through a lot lately, but we're almost at the finish line, so let's keep it going, guys. So today is actually the second day of winter, and I wanted to go ahead and do a December garden tour. I haven't done a garden tour in a couple of months just because I've been busy, but I would love to share with you guys what I've got growing on in my container garden here in Southern California in Zone 10A. Now, if you haven't been to my channel before, here at Home Sense with Nell, I like to talk about home decor, gardening, and DIYs, other topics related to making your home your sanctuary on a budget. So if that type of content interests you, please go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and most of all, leave me a comment down below and let me know how you're doing, how your garden is growing, or what craft projects you're working on. Okay, so the first thing that I've got growing on in my garden today are these volunteer tomatoes. And I actually love volunteer plants because basically free food, why not? So I'm excited to see how these progress and if I get any tomatoes off of them. I'm assuming that they're cherry tomatoes because that's what I've been growing most prolifically lately, but we will see. Next, I have this flat leaf Italian parsley, which I absolutely love. I think I mentioned in a previous video that I really like putting parsley in my smoothies, as well as in savory dishes. It just adds a nice floral, fresh flavor that you really can't beat. And here I have curly parsley. This one is just starting to take hold. I think it's just starting to take root, so it's not quite as big, but it's doing well in this spot. This spot here is I call it a part sun. Well, my entire yard is part sun right now because during fall that's just the best I can do. But this particular area gets just a couple hours of sunlight, direct sun a day. There's a tree collard. Here's another tree collard. This one's doing a lot better. I think it gets a little bit more sun. These were all planted or transplanted at the same time. I have 3 of them. I can't wait to go ahead and harvest some of these leaves. I have to do a little research to find out how large the plant should be before I start harvesting, but I'm excited to taste the leaves. I've never tasted tree collards. I've had Georgia collards, I've had other kinds, and that's actually one of my favorite vegetables. And here's some mint. We love to make tea with our mint, and this year I'm going to go ahead and dry some in bunches. I remember the last mint plant I had, it just grew amazingly until I stopped harvesting it, and then for some reason it died off. So I got a new one. My goal this year has been to harvest or grow everything from seed, and I've accomplished that about maybe 75%. I still do have a couple of things that I purchased, such as that mint there. And here's my 3rd tree collard. This one seems to be doing really well right here next to this jade plant. The tree collards are supposed to grow up to about 8 feet tall, so we'll see. They're probably going to compete for space there. And again, guys, I'm in Zone 10A. Today is the second day of winter, but it is in the high 70s. So now we move on to my 6x4 garden bed. This is the latest one that I've shared with you guys, where we mixed the Mel's mix right here in the yard and filled it with a little bit of lasagna gardening on the bottom and the Mel's mix on the top 6 to 8 inches. Okay, so here we have some marigolds. And these are seeds that I planted from the plants that grew last year or last summer from the Dollar Tree seeds, which were remarkable. They had a great germination rate. I highly recommend those Dollar Tree marigold seeds. And then next we have our green onions, which are just growing from green onion scraps that we get at the grocery store. These grow very, very well. They don't require anything special. I just give them, water them when the soil is dry. I usually water my beds about 3 times a week. I hope to set up drip irrigation one of these days. So I water them about 3 times a week, and then I give a fish fertilizer about every 10 days or so, diluted in a flower pot per the label directions. And this year is my first year growing Dinosaur Kale. And this Dinosaur Kale was planted from seed and then transplanted into this garden bed when it was a couple weeks, maybe 6 weeks old, I think. Now back here, I don't know. I have a feeling that these are some volunteers. My goal was to plant flowers in each of the 4 corners, so I know that these are marigolds that I've planted here, but this could be a weed. I'm not sure. And this looks like a weed. So take that out. And heading to the center, we have the regular curly kale that was planted from transplants that were started in Jiffy seed starting mix. And then back here I have Bloomsdale Spinach. Hopefully you guys can see it. I know the lighting is not that great here, but I planted Bloomsdale Spinach. And this is a square foot garden, so everything that I planted here is pretty much based on the square foot gardening principles laid out in Mel's book. And I'll leave a link below if you would like to learn more about that. I'll leave some links to my previous videos explaining square foot gardening. Here's Bib Lettuce. Now this Bib Lettuce I actually did not plant according to square foot gardening method. At least I don't think I did. I think I more broadcasted the seeds because I plan to just harvest it by cutting the leaves down and just harvesting like a spring mix kind of. Now this Bib Lettuce here I did plant according to square foot gardening. There's going to be 4 per square foot section, and this is doing pretty well. Next I wanted to try my hand at chamomile because I really do like tea, and I drink chamomile tea a lot. So I went ahead and got some seeds and I planted them just to see what would happen. I'm waiting for them to flower because the flower is the part that we harvest and dry for tea, as far as I know. Next, these are mustard greens. Those are planted 4 per square. Can't wait to taste those. And these are radishes, which I planted for my son. He really likes radishes. And radishes, because they're such a small crop or small vegetable, I think you can plant 16 per square. So I planted quite a few there. They didn't looks like they didn't all come up, but that's okay. And back there, that is a collard, one of my favorites. And my next 2 plots, I call them plots. My next 2 square foot sections are salad mix. So these were planted just by broadcasting the seeds on top of the soil. I didn't follow any particular planting spacing with that because, again, with these, I plan to cut them down like this and just harvest them and eat them like a spring mix that you buy at the store. And my next plot is chives. They're doing okay. And this is more Bloomsdale spinach in the front. I'm glad to be able to share this update with you guys before the year ends. Even though I would love to have a lot more sun back here, I'm just working with what I have, so my growth rates might not be spectacular, but getting something. And back there I planted zinnias, and unfortunately you can see the 2 sprouts there, they're kind of leggy. I think they're not getting enough sun. This plot right here, I think those are all volunteers. And this definitely looks like marigolds that need to be thinned out. Yeah, there's no way this small amount of space can, I don't think, support that many marigold plants, but I'll come and thin those out later. Now, one thing I have been doing to try to get more sun back here is I took an old DIY mirror, and I don't want to blind you, so I'm not going to show you the part where the sun's reflecting right now, but I took an old mirror. I basically made this giant mirror out of Dollar Tree mirrors. The Dollar Tree mirrors are $1 each, and I have 4 per column and 8 columns, so I was at 4 times 8, so 48 mirrors there. And then I just attached them on the back with scraps of wood that I had left over from projects, so it's like a giant mirror. And the goal is for it to reflect the sun back onto my bed, and that is actually, it happens during the day at different times. So at different times of day you will come out here and see the sun reflecting on different parts of the bed, which is nice. It also actually reflects heat too, which is nice in the wintertime. So here's my smaller bed. This one is it's also 6 feet long, but it's about, I always forget, about 3 feet wide, 2.5 feet wide. So here I don't have quite as many vegetables growing. I have a couple of chard plants that were transplants. Rainbow chard is also another delicious vegetable, and it's very versatile. You can eat the leaves while they're young in salad, or as it gets older, as a plant gets older, you can stir fry them or saute them. These are sugar snap peas, planted from seed. We'll see how those do. I see the ones in the back will have the benefit of this trellis, but the ones in the front don't have that. So I'm thinking of putting another one of those tomato cages here to kind of corral them so they have something to grow up as they get older. And I've planted seeds here, carrot seeds, 2 plots of carrots, actually 3 plots of carrots, which don't seem to be doing that great. I think they might do better as they get more sun. And then here I have beets, which are one of my favorites also. And you can see the beet sprouts are really, really small, but they're coming out. And over in this corner I planted a geranium. I just happened to have an extra geranium plant. I didn't have anywhere to put it, so I put it there. If it gets too big, I'll remove it. And here again, there are zinnias, which are getting leggy. They bloom, but it's a leggy bloom. And of course, I have this collard, which is one of my favorite plants ever. It is so big, so easy to take care of. The leaves are delicious. We actually had them for Thanksgiving. Looking forward to a lot more harvest from this plant. Okay guys, next I'm going to move on to this other section of my garden, which all of these pots were spread around different parts of the yard, but I decided to harvest them all together and corral them all together here because this is where a lot of sun hits the yard. So these get the most sun of all the vegetables. So I'll start right here. This is broccoli rabe. Now these were purchased as transplants. I didn't start these from seed. And here's some rosemary. And here's more chard. As I said, I really like chard. It's one of my favorite vegetables. 2 of these were purchased as transplants and 2 were started from seed. And back here I have a mixture of different varieties of strawberries. I don't have any berries or flowers on them yet, but I'm really looking forward to that when it happens. Down here right below the strawberry plant, I kind of took advantage of the space right here and planted some mustard greens. And I believe that is called frise. Let me know if I'm saying that right, because I know I've eaten it before, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's either frise or frizzy. All right. Oh, what's this guy? Okay, so back to the plants. Here's a loquat that I was gifted by a coworker. It's getting pretty big. Definitely needs to be not repotted, but planted somewhere in the sun. Back here I have some more of those Lunchbox Peppers. You've seen them in previous videos. When they're ripe, they turn red. And they stay small. They're kind of like the little peppers you buy in the grocery store in the bags. The flavor of these is very nice. They are, to me, the skin is tougher than what you buy in the grocery store, so you do need to be prepared for that. Oh, and I see a weed there that I need to get out. Here is a tomato bush that I planted a few months ago. Now the funny thing about this is I did buy this one from Home Depot or Lowe's, expecting it to be a cherry tomato plant, and it's definitely not. So I don't know what it is. It could be a, I think it's called a Better Boy. That's one that I had earlier this year, but this is definitely not what I expected, but I'm still looking forward to harvesting this and putting it in my salad. And the lobelia that I planted down here is actually still surviving. I'm surprised. I didn't think it would make it through these cold temperatures, but it's doing okay. I always like to have something purple in my garden because purple is my favorite color. Next, guys, here's the lettuce that I featured in last week's video. This is lettuce that was started from seed by just simply spreading it on the top of the surface of the soil and keeping it moist. It's doing great. Back here are the red mustards. Really looking forward to these. These just had a growth spurt. It rained and they just popped. I swear they grew 6 inches after it rained. Looking forward to those. Here I have 2 varieties of cherry tomatoes. I'm gonna leave those on the plant until they get a little bit deeper red. I prefer them that way. For my plants, I like to feed them with Epsom salt according to the package directions, and I also give them fish fertilizer about every 10 days. And right here I have more broccoli rabe. I was calling it broccoli rabe, but my daughter corrected me. So I did buy these from Transplants. And it matures in 70 days, as you can see, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm pretty sure the leaves are, oh, there's one. Oh, look at that. I haven't been out here in a couple of days, so I'm always surprised. Oh, yep, there they are. Broccoli rabe. It's gonna be delicious. And next I have my poor little Mexican lime. I don't know what's going on with this one. I'm gonna have to ask an expert on citrus because I really am not having any luck with my citrus right now. I repotted it in citrus soil specifically. I gave it citrus fertilizer, but I just don't know what I'm doing wrong with that. And here is a cherry tree, a young cherry tree. It's not producing anything yet, but I'm looking forward to when it will. Now let's head over to this little extra garden space I have over here. You guys have seen before. This was just built out of fence boards and 2x4s in about 10 minutes. So I have a variety of stuff growing here that I just didn't have room for in other places. So I have chard, more chard that I love, dinosaur kale, and I have some cilantro. We use quite a bit of cilantro here, and I got tired of going to the store and buying bunches of cilantro just for one meal, so I decided to just go ahead and plant some. So here it is. It looks so much like flat leaf Italian parsley, but it tastes very different. We like to include it in any of our Mexican dinners that we make here. Sometimes we throw a carne asada on the grill. Sometimes we make chicken tacos or even quesadillas, black bean quesadillas. Those are all delicious with cilantro. So guys, that's it. Thanks for coming along with me on my December garden tour. Here on my channel, I talk about home decor, DIYs, gardening, and other topics related to making your home your sanctuary on a budget. If that's your thing, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and most of all, leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy holidays!